if anybody's trying to track it. What?
Oh, I just started the recording. Go ahead. I just started recording. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying this Glimpse app I use for my family and stuff like that. But and I don't know if you guys have anybody who's planning to actually track who's where, but somebody might want to try that between now and then, see if you have any interest in it. It's pretty cool to have just for your own use, for your own family.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I also noticed that a number of folks are being tracked by uh, APRIS, and so just by going onto the APRIS website, the Finland website, you can also track them that way. So it's a pretty coordinated deal. Yeah, they're serious.
Yeah, that's the only problem is always I assume that that's the same thing. It requires that you actually have cell phone contact. I assume it's an app that runs over a cell phone like Glimpse does. And having done TDXS armadillo runs and stuff like that all over that state, there's a lot of places that don't have cell phone contact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I defined the armadillo run when we did that in that first year. When we did the whole thing, K5GN and I went and I made a book up and I said armadillo, a type of run in which all the contestants remain seated. Hey, John, that's you down there. I haven't seen you in a long time either. K5EC.
Yeah. Hey, how are you?
Good.
Hi, John, Chuck, W5P.
Yeah, you broke up, Chuck. Hi, how are you?
Muted.
Mark's just coming in. Well, we got a dozen people here. Let's just go ahead and get started. I'm sure some people will still drift in as they always do. I'm Doug, W9LCQ. I'm the secretary for TDXS. Good evening. The subject for the meeting tonight is the QSO party. And I'm just going to hand it right over to Roby, who has some preliminary work to show us. Are you ready, Roby?
Yes, sir.
Okay, take it away.
All right, so I don't have the best setup here, but can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Have a few
Yes.
things to talk about, and then the bulk of the meeting is a discussion, really. And this is just to try to kick things off. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of the cheerleader for this activity to try to see what we can do this year in the Texas QSO party. There hadn't been any activity up until this point, so I decided that I would take that task on. I sent out an email a week or so ago to try to find if there was anyone out there that needed some kind of assistance to get on to participate in the TQP. I got some responses, but not a lot. We'll talk a little bit about some of that. Oh, come on, computer. So what we're going to try to do is kind of set a goal for the Texas DX Society. And I chose, not that this is what we have to do, but I chose our standing in the Texas Club aggregate competition, since that is something that all of us can contribute to. If you're in state directly, you contribute directly. If you're out of state, by working us in-state guys, you help out sort of indirectly. So either way, Texas DX Society members can help us move up the ladder. We want to generate as much participation for this event as possible. And I'd like to get some kind of commitment, we'd all make some kind of commitment about what we're going to do. But I know we all have lots of things to do, and you can't work every contest every hour of every day. So there's some picking and choosing that goes on here. So that's what I hope we can come out of tonight. So why participate? Well, it's what we like to do. It's fun to operate, and most of us are contest oriented, at least at some level. And it's fun to be the chased guy. So this is our opportunity. And you know, the only way that competitors can score points in this contest is to work Texas stations. And so we need as many Texas stations on the air as we can get. The distances involved don't require that you have a sophisticated antenna system or high power. 20 and 40 meters in particular does real well with a dipole chasing some of these county guys, some of these mobile guys, and everybody has a opportunity to make a meaningful impact to what we're doing. I mean, if you even can operate a couple of hours, you can help out. More reasons. We need to grow as a club, and participation is the key element. In the past, we don't have many people that come to meetings anymore. We don't have a whole lot of activities that we do as a group, but contesting seems to be something that we kind of group around and do participate in. A couple of years ago, well, field day is a good example. And a couple of years ago, whenever we had the at-home field day back during the the COVID situation, we did really well there. That was great. In any kind of shared experience that we undertake builds some kind of a bond between us as club members. So that makes us, that kind of makes us a stronger organization. And we know, and any of you guys know, we do have a lot of issues with participation and the like these days. We're really getting thin. There's some big.
That's not unusual, actually.
No, it's not. But we could be different if we chose to be so.
Right.
I mean, that's the bottom line. It's a decision what to make. So there are a lot of big QSO parties. Now, I was going to try to collect some data, and Jim helped me with this a little bit in 5DTT, but we didn't find a whole lot. Trying to look where the QSO, the Texas QSO party stood as far as the ranking, ranking either by turned in logs or by number of contacts or, some sort of a criteria, which we really couldn't find a lot of data on this in the time we allotted to do the research. So I think the big one is the California QSO party. The Florida QSO party is certainly big, and so is Pennsylvania. The 7QP, which 7 states, is big. And the Texas QSO party is in there somewhere. But as the sponsor of the Texas QSO party, I think we're obligated to make it grow. And the total QSOs really is what, in my mind, is what equals growth. It would really be good if in the near future, sometime, maybe not this year, but sometime in the next couple of years, that the Texas QSO party was up here either above Florida or just behind or just below Florida on this list, right? So it is one of the biggest QSO parties, or one of the biggest QSO parties around. But any way to accomplish all this, we need as many Texas stations on the air as possible during this QSO party time. So I just took a look and thinking about a goal. This is from the last 3 years in the club aggregate standings. The Central Texas Club has won the club aggregate for the last X number of years. And I don't know how far that goes back, but I'm pretty sure it's a long time. So in 2020, TDXS was number 2 above Midland and behind the Central Texas group. The Central Texas group finished first in 2021, and we were second again, ahead of the Dallas-Fort Worth group. And in 2022, the Central Texas group again won, Dallas-Fort Worth coming in for a second, and us third. I'd really you know, in my thinking, I really like to see us at least number 2. It's a tall order, I think, to beat the Central Texas group, but hey, you got to have some goals somewhere. So I think would be reasonable. And you know, when you look at it, we had 17, 16, 17, 15, 16, 17 participants. We have more people that are active than that. And we certainly hope that we can get more on the air. So a goal, my idea about goals for 2023 would be to have 25 participants, to basically double our score from last year and see if we can get to second place in the you know, in the competition. So those are my thoughts. Anyway, so just a couple of comments. I'll start the discussion. I sent out this email asking people essentially if they, you know, telling them about the TQP and asking them if they would, if they're going to, a little bit about if they're going to participate and if they need some help to let me know. I did not get many respondents. I did get a few. I got several people that asked me questions, and I did my best to answer those questions, but I got nobody specifically asking for help. I got a couple of guys who volunteered to help others, you know, giving some idea of what sort of help that they might be able to offer. But you know, the response was a little bit underwhelming, let's say. So I hope that we can identify tonight. Maybe there's a few guys that could do a better job or would participate if there's something we can do for them, like set up contest software or, you know, maybe some small maintenance type work on an antenna or something like that, or some guidance, you know, like Bill had already said, you know, I sent him some information on the N1MM reflector and to him directly about how to get to the Texas QSO party in the N1MM. I think that's the kind of thing that, you know, that I'm talking about. I think we have an area for low hanging fruit in this contest. I know I like to operate CW. I do operate quite a bit of phone, but I do really enjoy CW more, and that's where I tend to gravitate. There are not that many phone members. I didn't pull the stats out of the data of the report that was generated by it's N05W over in New Orleans, who does the Texas City or does the TQP report for us. But CW was the overwhelming favorite for you know, participants. So sideband is right for participation.
Roby,
Yes.
that report says QSO mode CW 77%, sideband 22%, digital 1%.
Yeah. So I think that's, you know, we have some guys that are not CW guys. That's fine. This is a real good opportunity for them to, you know, to get on and operate and contribute in a meaningful way. So just a couple more comments, and I'll turn this over to everybody else. But the point that Doug made about digital, okay, I sat down and with N1MM, I can run RIDI, or I can run PSK 31 or 63 or any of those modes like that are not used much anymore. And I could participate in the Texas QSO party. I can send the required abbreviations and all that stuff, and the software works right. It produces a Cabrillo file and all those sort of things. It will not do that for FT8. And I had several questions about FT8. I do not know of a method to use FT8 in the Texas QSO party. Now, I could sit down and use the methodology that you use to work in the 1010 contest with FT8, which means you have to make up some special macros, and then you have to basically manipulate your log after the fact to get it in the right format. But that could be done, but I don't know many people that would be willing to go to that effort. That's
Roby?
quite a bit.
Roby,
Yes.
yeah, this is Bill. Quick comment about that. You know, I think that trying to discourage FT8 is probably a good idea only because it's hard to keep up a rate on FT8 because you know, whatever you do, you end up sitting around and you know, you don't get anything for a while. So, you know, I think I would hope that people who want to do FT8 could be talked into doing. If they can't do CW, then they ought to do sideband instead.
That's what I think myself. And then, you know, I said this last year whenever I was asked about the digital modes, and I told them I don't think we're ready yet. And I haven't personally put in any effort into trying to make it ready, trying to come up with a good scheme or something like that. I think that's a future thing. I think it's going to happen, but I don't see it this year certainly, and probably 2 or 3 years before that happens. So I guess what I'm at this point, what do you guys think? Who's going to do? I mean, how can we? What can we do here at the? We've only have a few days left, but what can we do to get some participation? And does anybody need some help? They would
Well, let
participate
me,
if I could get some help.
yeah, let me go ahead. Let me tell you what our plans are. Uh, John K5IZO and I are going to be up at his place up on the lake. I'm not sure exactly which one it is, but we'll be in San Augustine County and we'll do a multi-operator operation up there and eat some good food and have some good steaks. The antennas are up, and I got word from him today that everything is back to normal with some of the repairs that he made. And so that's my plan. I usually do Fayette County, but now there are 2 really good operators in Fayette County. And so I'm thinking, okay, let them take it over and I'll just go somewhere else. So that's what my plan is. Also, I wanted to bring up the fact that a 40-meter NVIS dipole is a fantastic antenna for this contest. I started out the first year I worked the Texas QSO party with a 40-meter ham stick clamped to the side of my 30-foot tower next to the house. And I saw the value of NVIS. And so I created an antenna system that I use all the time now. And I am not going to be using it this weekend because I've already got antennas up there. But I can certainly pass that system along to somebody for the weekend if anybody is needing an antenna. That would work extremely well, CW or single sideband. There's one single sideband operator who's going to be mobile, who's going to operate from, I think he's up to 38 or 40 counties. So, I mean, he's going to be good for 8 500-point bonuses if you chase him. Wow. So, you know, that could really help the score for everybody. So anyway, that's basically what I've got to say. That antenna is available if anybody needs it. And I'm looking forward to that weekend.
How many mobiles are there planning to be out from TDXS?
One comment I'll make about that, I'll speak for Keith, NM5G. He was planning to do that, but he broke his hip. So in my last exchange with him, he will be operating from home.
I'll be out mobile with my partner, N8AI, Chris. We're going to be going down along the coast down to the southeast or southwest again. Not a real high pressure one. He probably hit about 5 different counties, Matagorda and Calhoun and so forth, down that area.
Is that on CW or sideband?
On CW.
Yeah. So
there's only one. So far, there's only one other group that said they're going to be doing that area, and that's the Central Texas group.
So there's a couple of questions about that. So do you guys? John K5EC, are you going to be mobile?
I will, and I am going to be activating the counties between Amarillo in Fort Worth. I'm just going to go right down 287 and operate as much as I can both days.
Okay, that's great. The reason I was asking these questions is because if there's any way that any of you are in some kind of a setup where you can have dual band mobile antennas capability to be able to, when you get to a new county, you know, the the rate pretty much explodes. And if you have an ability to QSY to from 20 to 40 or from 40 to 20 and stuff like that, there's a lot of people out there who will follow you real quick, and that has to have a little you know, advance decision making about it. But if anybody has an ability to do that from an RV or anything, consider that, because that's really cool.
We're gonna
I've got
we're gonna be doing the actual in motion. We'll be using just a ham stick for 20 meters and a Kush or a hustler for 40 meters in motion. And then we plan on stopping it a couple of times along the way at parks or something. Put up a 30-foot pole and do a 40-20 dipole, which would be just sort of an invis dipole. And see what we can do with that too. So we'll cover that in some fashion.
I've got a pair of ATAS 120s on my truck. One which I'll tune for 40, the other one for 20. Now, what I'm wondering is, do we think there's going to be any activity on 80 meters at all? Is 80 meters going to be worth a damn?
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah.
Right. And my opinion is, over the years, I guess I've participated for about 8 years and or more probably, but I think I can count the number of 80-meter contacts that I've made on one hand. So I am not going to bother with it at all this year.
Yeah, you probably can't see this thing, but this is part of that report, and it goes through 2019 through 2022. 80 meters was 2 to 3 to 4% of all the QSOs. 15 was about 1%, 10 was almost 0, and so forth. 20 and 40 really are the money bands.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, Mike, to give you my one other opinion, I think it was you, Doug, said you were planning to stop and put up a wire antenna or something like that.
Correct.
I think you'll make a heck of a lot more points if you don't bother taking that time out to do that. I'll bet you'll find that it's going to take you time to do that. That the time will be spent making cues.
Well, that's true. That's true. And but I'm going to be doing most of the cues, and my partner's going to be doing most of the driving. But he wants to be able to operate a little bit, and he's not as easy as I am to that kind of operation. So we have to probably pull over and let him take his time. So it is what it is.
Okay, so another comment about mobile. I'm speaking for people that are not here that I have had some contact with, because I've been in the background for several weeks. I've been trying to talk all this whole thing up. KG5U Dale had told me that he was going to go mobile during the CW mobile during the contest, but he has a new car. He has a Tesla, and he didn't know how well that was going to work, right? So I volunteered to help him. Dale doesn't live that far from me. So I volunteered to help him, but I have not heard anything from him. And I've sent him a couple of emails and I hadn't gotten a response. So I don't know how far along he got down that path, and if he's actually going to be able to be mobile or not. But that was his intention, at least about 3 weeks ago.
Hey, I've got a Greenlee chassis punch here that I can FedEx over to Dale if you want to help him put a couple of antenna holes in that Tesla.
I've got those too.
I wonder how radio quiet a Tesla is.
It's pretty quiet.
Very.
It's very quiet. I operated mobile from a Tesla for 3 years, and I've heard people complain about it on the POTA site, but I never had that experience. It was quiet as hell.
Oh, great.
What'd you use as your handle, John? Elon?
No, I got rid of Tesla because the the front wheel on the passenger side actually fell off, and I've driven a lot of cars, and I've never had the wheel actually sort of fall off the suspension. So I decided that wasn't a good thing.
How
So
did you mount the antennas?
Uh, basically just, lip mounts and things like that. I never drilled a hole in it.
Yeah, is it aluminum or is it steel?
I think it's steel.
Okay. I was gonna put a mag mount on the hood of my minivan. Nope. It's not magnetic. It's not fiberglass, but it's not steel either. So
Yeah, I've got an aluminum Ford F-150, and I had to, actually drill some holes.
cool.
okay, so there's one other thing. Then there somebody else chime in on this. We have a club call sign, K5DX, and I'm the administrator for that license at this time for both the repeaters and we've tried to, over the last couple of years, we tried to get this call used in the contest. Now, current plans are for Keith in M5G to use K5DX from his home station. If, with his broken hip, I think he's recovering pretty well, but I don't have any real detailed information. So I'll be talking to him in the next few days. If he's not going to use that call sign, then we'll want somebody to use it. I used it last year. But we want our call sign, we want our club call to be on the air. So we're going to have that running too. But that's just another station, right? That's just more participation. So who else got ideas, thoughts? Make a commitment to operate?
Yeah, this is Hal, AF5J. I'll be doing it. I know Rick will too, I'm sure. We do all of the QSO party, state QSO party challenge kind of thing, and try and get as many as we can do. So there's 5 QSO parties that weekend. 3 of them are 2 days, including ours. So there's gonna be a lot of people out there, and it's gonna be confusing. I know some of the QSO parties work together to get a common log that can be used if your exchange is the same, and then parse it when you get done with it. But I don't know if they're going to do that. And I do know that one of the guys that does a lot of QSO parties, Mobile Jim, AD4EB, is already got his APRS schedule up on his website or on his QRZ page, and he's really organized. I chased him all over Tennessee last weekend.
That's cool. That's great. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'll be dishing out Colorado County.
Cool. That's what we need. How about you, Chuck? What have you got planned? He's still with us?
No, I don't think.
He's muted over there. He's busy with something. But he's a big sideband operator. He could really help us out. I don't know. I don't know. He usually operates 10 meters, but anyway, just looking for anybody to help.
So Chris, are you gonna step up to the plate?
Try.
Good.
I don't have a mobile rig yet, so.
Well, like we said, you don't need to be mobile. I'm going to operate from Galveston County fixed station like I have for several years now, probably CW only. And my focus in this is really to make sure there's plenty of Texas counties for everybody to work, plenty of Texas stations. So I usually get on 20 and just run and run and run and run. And I know I could make more points if I chased mobile stations, but these out of state guys, and there's a German that I worked several times on several bands each year for several years, and I'm hoping to put him in the log again, that kind of thing, right? Just to get it out there so that there's Texas stations on the air. And there's usually a couple of guys who show up from Galveston County as well. AD5WB, Leslie, says that he's, he's the guy who heads up the N5E operation on the tall ship Alyssa. He's saying he's going to be on this year, but it'll be fixed station. It'll be sideband only from Galveston County. So that'll be another. If he's on, he can rack up some cubes.
What's this call? N5 Echo?
No, so his call is Alpha Delta 5 Whiskey Bravo. And then he is the organizer of N5 Echo, which is used on the tall ship Alyssa during the museum ships weekend.
Gotcha.
And I've been able to participate with him a couple of times on that. That's a lot of fun. It's kind of hot down there on Pier 21, but it's still a lot of fun.
Right.
Try this. Try the being in the Cavella if you want hot on museum ship weekend.
I would imagine it would be.
Texas in September, it's going to be hot wherever you are.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to be on sideband from home. Not a whole lot, but I'll be here.
Okay, Roby, was it you who posted a list of the Texas counties with the correct abbreviations? Was that on the reflector?
Okay, that is on the that is on the TQP website.
Okay.
And
TXQP.net.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's built into N1MM.
Oh,
so
okay.
you don't have to worry about it.
All right.
But it's built into N1MM. But it's there. And I have, in time gone by, I have published that. I've emailed that out on the list a couple of times because people had specifically asked for the list. So I found the list, got a PDF version of it, and just mailed it out. And I could do that if anybody wants.
Let me tell you an anecdote about that when GN and I did the Armadillo run years ago. Richard K5NA was one of the people who was on, and he kept tail ending over the other stations, and he kept doing it. Finally, Dave sent him as our county. He sent Kraskowskowitz County. And all we got back from Richard was about it. That's great. That's it.
Yeah, so some guy kept asking me for what's the 4-letter abbreviation for B County.
Yeah,
here. So you find it right there.
So I don't know. I mean, this is kind of where I'd gotten to in all this. Are you guys good for trying to make a run at this? Or any goal? I'm not. I just had some ideas. Just put some ideas, but that's what. If we have a goal, I think it's better.
Has anyone out there found a recent or a fairly recent N1MM history file for the contest?
Call history file.
Yeah.
Claude.
I think it's on the N1MM website.
It probably is.
Well, that's what I saw was at least a year old, but maybe that's good enough.
Oh, the one I got was a couple of months ago.
Oh, okay.
I'll look.
I'm trying to send a message here. So Rick, K5TIA asked, what are the times start and end? So I don't remember them right off the top of my head, but if you look up my call on qrz.com, that's my bio. I change it frequently, and that gives you the start and end times, the dates, the start and end times for both sessions.
I think it's 9 to 9 on Saturday and 9 to 3 on Sunday.
Yeah.
Yes.
And with
Okay.
those hours, 80 meters not going to be much of a band.
Yeah, there's some. Somebody said we made a few from time to time, but it's pretty pretty scarce, really. So looks like most of us are going to operate. Like I said, the out-of-state guys, pound on it, man. You can help a lot as far as growing the Texas QSO party goes, and help us in state in our little competition.
Mhm.
I mean,
Um,
the one thing I noticed is that when I've been in the Cal QSO party, they actually solicit people who out-of-staters who have been in the contest before. They actually, before the contest, they say, you participated last year, blah, blah, blah. And maybe that helps get more people involved.
yeah.
Yeah, I get lots of emails from all of these QSO parties because I've done all of them a couple of times, and yeah, we get emails. I'm sure Rick does.
So
I think it's a good idea because you can point out, don't forget it's the 16th and the 17th, and starts at this and ends at that, and here's the prizes.
But that points out that brings up one of our weak points. We have very few people that are willing to do anything. And that takes some rascal sitting down and looking at this report that NO5W generated and finding email addresses and that kind of thing and making up something and mailing it out, which is not a massive job, but it does take time, right?
Yeah.
And and I do a couple of things. There's 3 or 4 email lists that I belong to for local clubs. I live down for you guys who don't know, I live in Galveston County. I live south of the Johnson Space Center, and I have a lot of exposure to Texas City and places like that. So I send out on the Texas the Tidelands email reflector all the information about the Texas QSO party, and I try to encourage those guys. I know several guys in the JSC club, Johnson Space Center club, and I try to do the same thing with them. I don't know if it helps or not, but but there's a little bit of advertising there. And if you want to make something big, I think that's a future task for us, is to come up for ways to make this to better advertise the TQP. One thing was actually discussed last year on this concept of a multi-state QSO party. I think with some effort, I think we could get something like that blended or created for the QSO parties that are this weekend. Because what you do is you add a state in front of or behind the county, and it's not that I wouldn't think that would be that difficult to do. I think you could use a user-defined contest, build a user-defined contest in N1MM like that. It would take a while to build that that multiplier list, that county list for all the states, but hey, it's doable. I worked with Claude and N5XZ on building the call history file for the 1010 contests. And that was an interesting activity. Took a fair amount of time, but Claude VE2 something or the other, whatever his name call sign is, he's really good at that kind of stuff. So I think there's things like that we could do, but again, it's going to take somebody committed, making a commitment to do it, and we're not going to get it done before the 2023 TQP. Maybe we'll get it done, something like that done before the 2024.
Probably the comment I would make on that is that I don't use N1MM just because I don't do CW mostly. But for instance, N3FJP has a specific Texas QSO party contest software. And if you started merging things together, that would be it's not set up to put a state in there. It's set up for you're talking to Texas stations. And I don't know whether there's any other state specific software around there, but that's one of the
that's the same. That's the kind of thing you get into when you start thinking like that. And I believe I believe you could do it, right? It would require that the other software developers also be willing to do something similar, right?
Yeah.
And the question is, are they or are they not? And if they are, how long would it take them to do it? You know, that kind of thing. It's all in all, it's a fairly complex task, doable, but takes time and effort.
Yeah, somebody has to decide and work with
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so the question is, how many people use something other than N1MM? And if ever,
I use that N3FJP.
I use that for phone contests.
yeah,
Well,
Okay.
And one MM works in phone contests too.
yeah, it does.
This is, I like the, of course, and N1MM is great for CW, but I just like the N3FJP for phone for whatever reason. Of course, I always use they call it AC log for my normal logging.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's one.
Yeah, that's why I said that's a future. That concept might work, might be, I don't know if the other QSO parties would even be willing to do it, you know. And then there has to be some way to parse those logs. And can't remember, AD1C
Yep.
has got a log parser, but I don't think it's set up for that. You know, that's another thing. So there's a number of things that would have to be done that are fairly complex to pull that kind of thing off. It's doable, I'm sure, but it's like, okay, can we get a critical mass here to make that happen? So not going to happen this year for sure, probably, and maybe sometime in the future. Just depends on, you know, is there somebody willing to pick up that ball and run with it, see what they can do. So that's all I had.
Oh, Robbie, this is Hal. On that emailing thing, I think the states that do that a lot are the ones that have online log submission, because as part of your log submission, you put in your email. So
Right.
they've got that in their database. So it's really easy to knock out an email 2 weeks before.
Oh,
I don't know if we've ever looked at anything besides getting the email logs in, whether there's a log submission you guys look at or not.
So I think Scott can comment on that. There was some discussion about doing that, and I don't know how far it got.
You're on mute, Scott.
I missed the question. Could you repeat that, please?
An online, do we have plans for an online log submission for the TQP?
Not for this year, no.
But I think the original point was, do we have a list of people who have participated in the past to send out a reminder? Was that, or did I get that wrong?
No, that was the whole point, is that if you've got the email associated with a call sign, it's easy to send it out from your database rather than look them up in QRZ.
We'd have to, in my opinion, we'd have to ask Chuck, NO5W, if he, you know, what kind of data he has. He may have it. I don't know. Again, just another thing, good idea. Take somebody to take that ball and run with it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to stop my share here.
There you are.
Yes.
Well, if there's nothing else, I guess we can adjourn.
Yeah, Doug, I do have something.
Okay.
K5GN contacted me today, and he wants to operate the CW Sprint, the NA North American CW Sprint this weekend. I've got KG5U also signed up, but Hal, I sent you a message. Rick, I didn't send you a message, but I would love for you to participate if you'd like to. just send me an email so that I know that you want to do it. I've already talked with Kim. He's busy. But any of you CW guys that like to do sprints, you've got K5GN already probably going to account for about half the score. So if you want to be on a winning team, you let me know. Okay.
Will do, Jim.
Okay.
Give him a run for his money.
Well, let me tell you, there's nothing like having K5GN on your side. You know, somebody who qualifies for WRTC, you're going to have a good day on that team.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have one comment to make. Somebody, I thought it was Steve W9DX, but I sent him a message and I didn't hear back from him. Somebody was trying to collect old copies of the bullsheet. And recently in my perambulations through my boxes in the garage, I came upon a folder that had a bunch of probably 20 bullsheets from back in the 1985, 86, 87 realm. Does anybody recall who it was who wanted those, or what? If is that, maybe I'm just mystified and don't remember that correctly.
Hey, Tuna, this is Scott, K5DD.
Yeah.
W5DX is Steve, who was the webmaster for many years, and I've taken that duty on for several years now. If you've got some old bullsheet information, I'd love to have it.
Okay, Scott. So I have, these are hard copies that came out of a file. Do you want me to scan them to a PDF and send you the PDFs, or do you want the originals, or what would you prefer?
Whatever is convenient for you. I'm in my address is good at qrz.com. So
Okay.
I've got an email address there as well as a snail mail address. So whatever your preference is, I'll take it.
Okay. Well,
enough.
I'll tell you what. I will in fact see if I can take it upon myself to scan them. Some of them are. Some of them may scan a little. They're not as cool as they could be, but I'll see if I can get them together.
Super. Many thanks.
We have a bunch of those already, don't we, Scott?
Oh yeah, we have tons of them. So
I check the website first of all to make sure we don't have the particular one you're talking about.
I got a great idea, Scott. I have a list of each of the month and year list of what I have. I'll send you that, and you can send back to me and tell me which are dupes.
Good.
Perfect. Yeah, do that. Thank you.
Seem to recall it was Steve that was asking about that too.
Yeah. Is he W5DX or W9DX?
W9.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't reply. I sent him a thing and he didn't reply. So I'll be in contact with you, Scott, with that list then.
I'll tell you who else is a good source for that stuff is Randy, K5ZD. He was responsible for that, for the NCJ contesting into things for a long time, and he kept a whole bunch of bullsheets for that. In fact, I went back to him and asked one time, do you have this particular one? Because it had some old sprint scores in it, and he dug it up and sent it to me.
Okay, anything else? Okay, well, I guess all I can say is good luck next week.
Good luck in the in the QSO party. All right.
All right.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks.
Thanks all.
Good night.
Good night. 7-3.
See you later, guys.
Hey, Roby, I'm hearing the guys up in Great Lakes area on 6.
Okay.
FT8.
The antenna's turning now.
See y'all later.
You guys remember to get on the VHF contest. I'll be on 6 meters this weekend.
Okay, I'll see you
Chuck.
right at I'll see you at 1 o'clock, Chuck.
All right, thank you, sir, Jim.
All right, we'll be there, Chuck.
Yeah, maybe the only contacts I
Well, if you give me one and I give you one, we're even. We're tied, right?
Yeah, that's
Well,
right.
Right.
that, you know, in GZR, you know, we're
Yeah.
already up to what, to 6 or
Three
9
each.
already, huh?
Yep.
could be a
Yeah,
record year.
Oh,
We'll be
heck,
there.
I got first place one year with one contact, first place in the South Texas. That was the year I think you were out, Chuck. But anyway, one contact in the September QSO party. Yeah.
There- Yeah, everything but June is terrible usually. All
Yeah.
right,
Yep,
thank
yep.
you guys. See you.
See y'all.
Well,
See you, Chuck.